Hi everyone, this is Jim Prusak, physical therapist and founder of the Pain PT. And today we're going to talk about another one of the primary emotions that's part and parcel with chronic pain. And this is a big one. This is fear. Fear is so prevalent with chronic pain. I see it all the time. And fear really stops us from recovering and moving forward to overcoming chronic pain. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how we can move through fear and how we deal with fear when it arises with chronic pain. So we know these two are interlinked. Fear and pain go hand in hand. And we have a lot of research now that shows that fear leads to altered behaviors. And we call this fear avoidance. When we're afraid, we tend to avoid doing things that might provoke, in this case, more pain when it comes to chronic pain. And we know fear has many forms. It can raise its head in the form of worry. It can raise its head in the form of anxiety. And we see anxiety a lot of times with chronic pain, where maybe it started out as a low level fear, and then a person becomes quite anxious and worried all the time that something they're doing is making it worse, or they're actually going to harm themselves or hurt themselves if they do something. So they avoid things, they stop doing things. All these three things, fear, anxiety, and worry, are all a form of stress. They all keep that same fight or flight sympathetic nervous system going. And in the case of fear, we're talking about the flight part of the system. Fear makes us want to run. It makes us want to get away from whatever it is. And in this case, it may be pain. Now, with acute pain, this would be normal. And if there was a true danger situation, a true threat, this would be a normal response to flight, to run away, to flee from whatever it is that's coming after us. But in the case of chronic pain, we know that there isn't anything to be concerned about. There isn't a physical injury, there isn't a structural cause anymore. It's much more likely to be the brain and nervous system. So the fear takes on a role of its own, it becomes its own entity, so to speak. And when we're stuck in fear, we're basically trapped, we're shackled. It's really hard to move forward when we're feeling fear. It's one of those emotions that's so strong that keeps us in place. We have a hard time breaking out when we're stuck in fear and anxiety and worry. But in reality, the only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. And this is so true because a lot of times what I see in people, it's the fear that causes the spike in pain. It's the fear that causes chronic pain to continue. And the fear itself feeds on itself. So when we're afraid, we're actually not afraid of the pain, but we're afraid of the fear and actually feeling the sensation of fear in ourselves, in our bodies. We know that chronic pain is a form of misplaced fear. We know there's actually nothing really wrong and that things look a lot worse than they actually are. But logically, we may understand this, but emotionally, the fear can be so strong it'll stop us in our tracks, it'll freeze us, or we'll try to run from the very thing we need to do to recover. So as we know, we see fear happen on many levels. Somebody's public speaking and they're really nervous, really worried and anxious. So fear is, what is fear? Fear is a shaky, it's a jittery feeling in the body. It expresses itself physically through the body as a shaking feeling. In extreme forms of fear and panic, the body may literally shake, just like an animal will shake when it's afraid. So we need to connect with fear. We need to connect with this feeling in us and be okay feeling this feeling of fear. Fear cannot hurt us. It's only a feeling. It's just an emotion. It's only when we become afraid of the fear, when we fear fear itself, that it has us caught in the cycle. So what do we need to do? Just like with everything else we talked about here at the Pain PT, the number one thing that we can do is to relax. We need to relax into fear and move through it, move forward. We don't want to listen to the fear with chronic pain. It's a false signal, it's a false feeling. It's not a true feeling that should stop us because we know chronic pain is not the same as acute pain. So getting comfortable feeling uncomfortable feelings, one of these is fear. as we can learn to become comfortable feeling fear, to actually move through it, that's when we start to heal. And I want to let all of you know that part of the process of healing is walking through your fears. I haven't found an easier way around it. And what I mean by this is that when you start to engage in activities and hobbies and things that you've stopped doing, what's going to happen is fear is going to raise its head. And this is the critical moment, the crucial moment. Do we stop and listen to the fear and run away? Or do we relax, turn on that parasympathetic nervous system, and feel the fear as we move through it? Just feel the feeling of fear as we move through it and return to our activities because we know we're safe. We know what we're doing is not dangerous. I hope this has given you a little bit of information and you learned something here today. I work a lot with fear as one of the three primary emotions with chronic pain. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I hope you all have a great day.